This is what top 1% do that you don't. Most people live on autopilot. They do the same things every day, hoping their life will somehow change. But the top 1%, they operate differently. They aren't lucky. They are intentional. They build habits and mindsets that make success inevitable. And while most people seek comfort, the top 1% seek growth. The truth is, success doesn't start with money. It starts with mindset. If you want to rise above the average, you don't need to be a genius. You just need to build what the top 1% have built, like discipline, self-trust, patience, self-esteem, and control over dopamine. Let's break each one down and see what it really takes. Let's start with discipline. Discipline is the foundation of everything the top 1% build. It's the ability to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline isn't about being strict or robotic. It's about being consistent. It's about keeping promises to yourself. People often think motivation leads to action, but the top 1% know that action leads to motivation. They don't wait for the perfect mood. They train themselves to show up, no matter how they feel. Discipline starts with the small decisions: waking up without hitting snooze, going to the gym when it's cold, finishing that last task instead of procrastinating. These small wins stack up. Every time you act with discipline, you build mental strength. But discipline isn't about punishment, it's about freedom. When you're disciplined, you control your time, you control your mind, you get to choose your future. The undisciplined person becomes a slave to their moods. Disciplined person becomes the architect of their life. The top 1% also build structure. They don't rely on willpower. They design environments that make good choices easy. They plan their day the night before. They keep distractions out of reach. They track progress. They use calendars. They don't try to remember everything. And when they fail, they don't quiet. They analyze. They adjust. They get back on track quickly. The difference isn't perfection. The difference is bounce back speed. To build discipline, start small. Don't overwhelm yourself. Create routines. Track your habits. Remove temptations. Celebrate consistency, not intensity. The top 1% treat discipline like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. Number 2 is self-trust. Self-trust is the secret engine behind confidence. When you trust yourself, you believe in your ability to figure things out. You know that no matter what happens, you will handle it. And that belief, it changes everything. Most people don't trust themselves because they've broken too many promises to themselves. They say they will wake up early, but they hit snooze. They say they will work on their goals, but they procrastinate. Over time, this creates self-doubt. The top 1% people rebuild trust by doing one simple thing: keeping their word, especially to themselves. They don't overpromise. They commit to small, realistic actions and follow through, even if it's just writing one paragraph, working for 10 minutes, or making one phone call. Each small promise kept is a vote for the person you want to become. Over time, these votes add up to identity. You begin to see yourself as reliable, capable, strong. Self-trust also means forgiving yourself. The top 1% people don't live in guilt. They reflect, learn, and move forward. If they mess up, they own it, and they lead themselves with compassion and clarity. Self-trust isn't arrogance, it's quiet confidence. It's the knowing that your future self can count on your present self. To build your self-trust, keep promises, no matter how small. Don't set impossible goals. Show up consistently. Forgive quickly and recommit. Track your wins. When you trust yourself, life becomes lighter. You will stop overthinking. You will stop doubting. You just do the work. Number 3, patience. The top 1% people play the long game. They don't chase instant gratification. They understand that anything great takes time. Whether it's building a business, mastering a skill, or transforming your body, results come from patience. Most people quit too soon. They give up when they don't see quick results. But success is never fast. It's slow, boring, repetitive. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means staying consistent without obsessing over speed. It's trusting the process even when process feels invisible. The top 1% are patient with growth but arrogant with action. They work hard today and let time handle the rest. To build your patience, you have to set long-term goals. Track progress weekly, not daily. Celebrate small wins and avoid comparison. Stay focused on your progress, not the outcome. Patience turns pressure into peace, and that peace makes you unstoppable. Number 4, self-esteem. Self-esteem isn't about thinking you're better than others. It's about respecting yourself. It's the deep sense that you matter, that your goals matter, that your voice matters. The top 1% people don't need external validation. Proud of who they are, not because of achievements, but because of how they live. Most people think self-esteem is something you're either born with or not, but that's not true. Self-esteem is built through small, daily choices. It's the way you see yourself. It's how much you respect yourself. And here's the truth. If you don't value yourself, the world won't either. Real self-esteem doesn't come from likes, followers, or praise from others. It comes from within, from what you tell yourself when no one's watching, from how you treat yourself when things go wrong. The problem is, most people tie their self-worth to performance. If they succeed, they feel good. If they fail, they feel worthless. But self-esteem is not about being perfect. It's about knowing your worth, even when you're struggling. It's about saying, I matter, even when the world doesn't clap. One of the most powerful ways to build self-esteem is by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when something is small like waking up on time or finishing a task, your brain gets a signal. I can trust myself. That builds inner respect. Another key is how you talk to yourself. Most people are their own worst critics. They say things to themselves they'd never say to a friend. But self-esteem grows when you speak to yourself with kindness, not judgment. Replace that I'm such a failure with I made a mistake and I'm learning. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Also, stop comparing yourself to others. Everyone is on a different path. The more you compare, the more you forget your own value. You don't need to be better than others. You need to be better than yesterday. Spending time with yourself alone helps you. When you're always around others, you forget how to listen to yourself. But in solitude, you remember your own voice. You find clarity. You learn what you really want. That inner knowing strengthens your self-esteem. And remember, self-esteem isn't arrogance. It's not saying that I'm better than others. It's saying I am enough with all my flaws and strengths. Top 1% people build their self-esteem like a habit. They challenge themselves. They reflect often. They stay grounded. And they trust that their value doesn't depend on success, money, or image. It comes from their actions, mindset, and self-respect. So, if you want higher self-esteem, don't chase approval. Build character, keep promises, speak kindly to yourself. Top 1% people, they take care of their body. They speak kindly to themselves. They surround themselves with people who uplift them. They pursue things that light them up. Another thing that top 1% people do is control their dopamine. In today's world, dopamine is everywhere. Every scroll, every like, every ping gives your brain a hit. And over time, it dulls your motivation. Top 1% people know this. They know dopamine isn't bad, but it needs to be managed. They avoid cheap dopamine, endless scrolling, junk food, binge watching. Instead, they seek deep dopamine, progress, learning, challenge. They build systems that reduce temptation. They delete distracting apps. They schedule social media use. They replace mindless habits with meaningful ones. They also practice dopamine detoxes, days or hours where they unplug. No phone, no screens, just real life. This resets their brain. It makes hard work feel rewarding again. It makes life feel vibrant again. To manage your dopamine, you should limit screen time. Track your triggers. Take breaks from stimulation. Celebrate real efforts, not quick likes. Replace consumption with creation. Most people have no idea that their brain is being hijacked, not by some villain, but by a chemical. Dopamine is often misunderstood. People think it's the pleasure chemical, but that's not entirely true. It's the desire chemical. It doesn't reward you with happiness. It pushes you to chase things that might bring reward. And in today's world, everything is designed to spike it. Every time you open your phone, scroll through social media, check your notification, eat junk food, or binge watch videos, you're triggering dopamine. But the problem is, these things give you cheap dopamine, quick hits, easy rewards, no effort. And your brain, it starts to crave more of that. The more cheap dopamine you get, the less motivated you feel to do hard things. Things like studying, working out, building a skill, talking to people, reading a book. These things require energy and patience. But when your brain is hooked on fast pleasure, slow rewards feel boring. That's how you lose control. That's how people become addicted to distraction. That's how dreams die. Not from failure, but from digital overstimulation. Top 1% people, they know that dopamine isn't bad. It's neutral. The key is managing it, using it intentionally, making dopamine work for you, not against you. They start by becoming aware of their triggers. What do they crave when they're bored? Where does their time go? What apps do they open without thinking? Once they know, they cut back. They set rules. No phone in the first hour of the day. No notifications during deep work. No mindless scrolling. They create dopamine detox zones. Moments in the day where the brain can reset. It's hard at first. You will feel anxious. You will want to check your phone. Your brain will beg for it. Top 1% people also train their brain to earn dopamine through effort, not shortcuts. They reward themselves only after finishing deep work. They make hard things satisfying. After a workout, they allow themselves a good meal. After writing for 2 hours, they enjoy a fun video. This rewards the brain. It teaches it. Dopamine comes from progress, not procrastination. It flips the script. Instead of your brain craving distractions, it starts to crave discipline. Another thing that top 1% do is movement. Physical activity naturally boosts dopamine, but in a healthy way. A short workout, even a walk in nature, resets your reward system. That's why the top 1% make exercise part of their routine. They don't move to look good. They move to feel good, to reset their mind, to control their chemistry. Also, don't forget sunlight. Getting natural light in the morning helps you regulate dopamine and wakefulness. Your brain is a biological machine. Treat it with respect, and it will reward you. The truth about most people never hear is your goals and dreams are dopamine based. You're motivated by them because your brain expects a reward. But if your brain is already flooded with rewards, likes, snacks, videos, it no longer needs to chase real goals. That's why most people stay stuck. They get dopamine too easily, so they stop growing. But you can change that. You can reset. You can rewire. Cut down on junk dopamine. Start earning your rewards. Let your brain get hungry again. Not for distractions, but for achievement. When you control your dopamine, you regain control of your focus, energy, and joy. You don't need to do what everyone else is doing. You can live differently, think differently, build yourself into someone the world hasn't even seen yet. The top 1% people don't have magic. They have habits. And those habits start with discipline, self-trust, patience. This is your roadmap. You don't have to be perfect. Just start. The person you want to become is already within you.